Hello, I'm Dr. Cesar Parra, and this is Don Cesar, and we would like to show you the way that we have been doing it for a couple of years, bringing Don Cesar from the very basics when he was a young horse and he competed internationally and world championships and so on as a young horse, now all the way to Grand Prix. And what I like the most is what it works for me, then I think it will work for you, keeping the harmony and the relaxation. Okay, so I'm going to show you from the very beginning what I do. Obviously, in this video, it's going to be only like 6 minutes approximately as a summary of the 45 minutes that I do in the normal work every day with my horses, or not every day, but at least 6 days a week with the adult ones, with the young ones 5 days a week. So the first thing I do is I give them a good solid 15 minutes of walk, where I do transition between standing walk, free walk, medium walk. I try not to touch the collective walk until later on in the work. At the beginning, I just want them to walk freely through the back, searching for the contact, always thinking destination contact, and that I'm able to increase the size and the speed of the walk. And I start also adding to the walk a little bit of the movement sideways so that the horses start getting ready in his lateral movements. We have to remember these horses spend 20 hours or 18 hours in the stalls, and they go a couple hours to the paddock. So it's good to keep them moving and relaxing and stretching before we start asking for collection. So after I do the walk, I go into a trot, again looking for a very long frame, trying to make him stretch into the contact with the poll low, the neck really trying to flatten the neck in a way that it can stretch out as much as I can, and in a very relaxed and rhythmic trot. It's just a little bit of trot that he can move and relax, and then I start doing transitions, very simple transitions with the same type of frame with a long neck into canter trot, trot canter. I start checking out a little bit the outside rein, making it a little bit straighter, making it look a tiny bit to the outside, a little bit to the inside. I start increasing the tempo, means the speed of the canter, so a little faster canter, a little slower canter. At this moment, I'm not looking for anything brilliant. I don't want to see the horse. I'm not trying to show off the horse, like trying to sell the horse. I mean, it's just making the horse move in a way that is starting to understand my aids from my legs, from my seats, from my hands, and always trying to teach him to go in front of the leg, we say in riding, which means that the horses will go forward from my little commands from my legs, looking for the contact, looking for reaching the bit so I can feel their movement in my hands. So I send from the legs to the seat to the hands. I start doing then a little bit of trot, a little bit of canter, and every time that I go more and more into the transitions, I start looking for a better posture, thinking like going into the show frame. Every horse at every level will have a different show frame. When you're showing lower levels, you don't need to have the pole so high. In the higher levels, you have to have the pole high. It's very important, the transitions. I think a good rider should be doing anywhere around 300 to 350 transitions in a ride in the 45 minutes. These transitions could be very simple: walk, trot, trot, canter, canter, trot, canter, walk, extend the walk, collect the walk. So now, after I've done all of that, I start doing what I wanted to show you, which I think is the most difficult thing, the introduction for the horses to go into the Piaffe Passage. And what I try to do is to, in a very pedagogic way, meaning like the way to teach them something, is that they understand this little trot, this little jogging, so they learn the mechanic of the Piaffe or the Passage per se, so that later on my transitions are going to be much more simple to do, which I think is one of the most difficult things to do, and most of the riders don't get it right in the test. So I just want the horse to start moving very little, very elevated, and sort of dancing from my legs to my hands through my seat. So that you see in this moment, you could see a little bit of more elevation of the knees. Then I go forward again. At this moment, I would like to see the neck a little bit rounder. It still is a little bit too high in the neck. I would like to see it round. That's better at that moment. I would like to see the neck in training a little bit lower so the back can come a little bit higher. and then you see the jogging 1 2 1 2 1 2, a little bit bigger steps, a little bit smaller steps, and then all of a sudden, when you realize you can just make them to stay on the spot and they keep on moving that way, and then you will have a beautiful piaffe, which I think you will see in the future. This horse has only shown, at the moment that we're making this video, he's shown only 2 times the developing Grand Prix, and is already second in the nation in the United States. The transition from this piaffe to the halt is also very important, because the halt obviously is a half, not a half halt, it's a halt, which makes the horse stop and go and move the weight to the hind legs. It's the most important thing that they can learn, move, and always with relaxation. Here we see a little bit of tension. You could see the tail switching. Sometimes it doesn't bother me, that little bit of tension, thinking that it's going in a positive way, meaning that he's going to get a little bit more happy, more searching more for that contact, trying to get a more exuberant movement. But obviously this has to be within harmony, so that if you per se lose a little bit of relaxation, you still have to do it in harmony. And then you have to go back to the walk where the horse gets to relax and gets to breathe and gets to get ready for the next movement. Everything that you do, we're looking for the maximum collection. You have to be thinking always that the horse can be relaxed, and that everything that we do is finally to the movement.